Hi everyone, Thomas here and welcome back to another video. So today is a very exciting day because today, the 29th of December, marks my 3-year anniversary here on YouTube. So I thought I'd go ahead and do a little Q&A to kind of celebrate it, I suppose, because I know there's been quite a few new people around here recently, and I suppose that, you know, you may not know a lot about me or anything, or you just want to know some more things about my channel, etc. So this video is going to be to answer some of those questions. So I did put up a video the other day asking for some questions to go ahead and answer in today's video. I was also going to do face cam today, but I couldn't really get my webcam set up exactly how I wanted to, so I'm going to put that off for another video to get it set up right for that. But before we get into the questions, I just want to say a huge thank you for all the support that we've had over the last 3 years. This year in particular has been pretty amazing in terms of the growth of my channel, which has been something I wasn't expecting at all, and just the opportunities I've had this year, and you know, the new people I've met this year too. Just lots of things happened this year and it's all been amazing, so thank you everybody for another successful year. So the first couple of questions today comes from Jenna Ferguson, and the first one she asks is, what is your favourite build? Now I do actually think somebody asked about what is my favourite mansion build in another question, so I'm going to kind of rule out, you know, mansions for this particular question, but if I had to pick one of the other ones, I actually like one of them that I did recently called I can't even remember the name of it now. It was something like White Ridge Avenue or something. It wasn't too long ago, but for some reason that build just kind of stuck with me. It's been one that kind of just turned out really well for what I had planned for it. It was sort of like the monochrome looking one, so that one was probably one of my favorites, I would say. And the next question they ask is, why did you start YouTube? And to be honest, I have really no idea. I actually started doing it back in like 2010 on another channel, and I did like reviews and stuff like that. It wasn't gaming related at all actually. And then back in December 2015, I then decided to go ahead and start Sims videos, because it was something that I was getting back into, because I'm not really like a player of this Sims franchise for as long as most people have been in this community. I was kind of played it, you know, around 2010, like, you know, Sims 3, but I wasn't really involved with the community at all. I wasn't, you know, familiar with, you know, all the packs and stuff you can have with it, and I kind of just went through phases where I really liked it and where I just didn't play it at all. But then I kind of got into December 2015 or something, and I remember one of my friends said, because we sometimes talked about The Sims because we both kind of played it on and off as well, that The Sims 4 had a sale on Origin. So I'm pretty sure it was the 23rd of December 2015 that I bought The Sims 4, and then that kind of just started my channel on the 29th, a few days later. Well, in terms of Sims videos at least. So that's not, I don't know if that really answers the question, but I wasn't really too sure anyway, but that's the best I can kind of explain it. The next question that Jenna asks is, what got me started with The Sims? And it was just like a present actually. I had the Sims 2 pets on Nintendo DS, and I got those as a Christmas present one year. I think it was like 2006, well, was it 2006? It might have been. Anyway, so that was kind of the first kind of Sims experience that I had, and that's kind of what me started into it. But you know, that wasn't me kind of, you know, now fully obsessed with The Sims after that game, because like I was saying before, I really kind of got started with playing Sims 3 on PC in 2010. So I wasn't that big in the Sims community or anything in terms of a player until like 2010, but that was with The Sims 2 pets on Nintendo DS. That was the first kind of thing that got me started with The Sims, and that kind of, you know, answers that last question there from Jenna as well. The next question comes from this person who I'm not too sure how to pronounce their username, but I think it's like, I guess it's just VYVYXOXO, and they ask, when is my birthday? And it's actually the 27th of February. So last year we actually got Jungle Adventure on my birthday last year as well, the 27th of February, and I kind of always remember when Jungle Adventure comes out now because it was on my birthday last year. Oh My Plum Bob asks another few questions here, the first one being, who is my favourite sim guru? Well, I suppose it's kind of bad for me to pick one, because I mean, they're all amazing in their own ways, because, you know, there's a lot of them and they're on different, you know, sides of the Sims franchise, but of course Sim Guru Kate is, you know, the one I talk to the most, I suppose. But I would also say Sim Guru Kimmy, because I remember she was the first Sim Guru that followed me on Twitter when no others would. So Sim Guru Kimmy is always going to be high up on my list. And she also asks, if I could be, would I be a Sim Guru? And well, I suppose it's kind of like, you know, the Sim Guru is just like a regular employee of The Sims, like who works on The Sims, that has like a social presence, like an online presence. But if I was going to work at The Sims, I think I would want to be on the community side of things. I'm really interested in going into like social media management and community management and stuff like that. So that would probably be something, you know, in that sort of thing if I was going to be a Sim Guru on The Sims team, but I don't really think it's going to be very likely. The next question comes from my good friend Maria Sims, and she asks, what is my favourite pack out of The Sims franchise that we've had so far? And I I'd probably say it's really hard to decide because they're all like really good in their own ways. But the one that's kind of sticking out to me in my head at the minute is cats and dogs. And to be honest, I don't play with cats and dogs though. It's because I never really get the chance to play the game, to be honest. So for that reason, like, it's not. But in terms of the build mode items, like, I always kind of think of, like, when people say, like, you know, what packs does this build use, if they're talking like about a build or like a comment or something, the first one that always comes to my mind is cats and dogs, because it's just like the items from the pack fit really nicely with my like favorite build style, and I just end up using that pack pretty much in all my builds, especially the windows and doors and stuff. So I'm probably going to say cats and dogs if I had to pick one. And then the next couple of questions comes from Pemsy, if I'm saying that correctly, and they ask what happened to Fix Me Thomas TV. So if anybody's new around here and you don't know, this was actually a renovation series that I had for you to go ahead and submit your rundown lots on the gallery, and then I go ahead and choose one each week to renovate. Well, the last couple of months I've kind of just gone away from that. There's a couple of reasons why, really. The first one being is that I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would, actually, and also as well, there was like towards the end of me kind of, well, I never really officially ended the series because I might come back to it at some point, but I stopped getting submissions. Like, I would get the odd one, but it wasn't like enough submissions to keep it like consistent. So for that reason as well, I kind of slowed the series down a bit. So I haven't really done that a lot recently, and especially with the last couple of weeks. I haven't really done this last couple of weeks either though, but doing 2 mansion builds a week as well, so that also kind of cut into my time a little bit. But you know, if it's something that you want to see, then feel free to submit some more lots and I'll see if I can make the series come back. The next question they ask is what is my kind of recommended expansion pack for players, and I would, again, like I was saying before with Maria's question, it would probably have to be cats and dogs. You know, Get to Work is probably the least on my list because I feel like I'd never really use that apart from like one plant. And then the other expansions that I'll have as well are pretty good, but cats and dogs, you know, seasons, that's, well, to be honest, yeah, I think if you're a player, then I would go for seasons. If you're a builder, then maybe cats and dogs. They also ask, have I thought about playing any other games on my channel? And I have, but you know, one of the reasons why my channel is called what it is, you know, it doesn't have the name Sims or anything relating to the Sims in my channel name, is because when I started it, I didn't want to kind of restrict myself. But I feel like a lot of us who make videos, like Sims videos, will know that trying to do another type of game on your channel other than The Sims never really turns out that well, because, you know, it's what your viewers are expecting to see, Sims videos, and then when you go to do a gaming video which is another game, it kind of just doesn't really go down that well. Not like you get hate or anything, but it just isn't as, you know, viewed. Not like that's really, really important, but, you know, in a way it kind of is, because I also want to make content that you kind of want to see too, and doing other games which isn't Sims related never really turns out right. I have done a few, not really that recently, but I think the last one I did was a game called Fee, which was by Zonk Games, but it was kind of under EA as well. And that one was, I think that was the last one I played. And I did also do a few when I like start my channel, like a few random ones, like Akinator and Happy Wheels, which is not really like like a proper good game. But you know, if you want to see some other things that you want to, you know, see, then just let me know and I'll see if I can get round to them. They also asked, do I have any collabs coming up? And yes, I do actually. Well, I kind of seem to always have collabs in the work, to be honest, because, you know, everybody who I seem to collab with has a lot of busy schedules, so we'll always kind of plan things in advance, I would say. So I do have a few people in mind who were kind of talking, you know, just throwing ideas back and forward, but, you know, there will be some coming up soon. They also asked, do I have any floor plan tips? Now, actually, this has been a kind of a question that I get asked quite a lot, so I might actually make a separate video about this, but if I had to give a very just quick tip here to answer this question, I would probably say that you could, you know, look at, I say this, well, the thing is that I say that you can look at like floor plan pictures and stuff of like, you know, on like Pinterest and things like that. I personally don't really use those anymore. I just like to kind of do what I want really with the interior. I sometimes use them though for the exterior to kind of get like a starting point, but with those, you know, floor plan pictures, or even just like a house plan on like a, you know, like an architecture website or something, sometimes they do have another screenshot of how the floor plan is laid out. So sometimes, well, if you look back at the build battle that I did a few months ago with the tides changing, we actually kind of followed a picture that also had all the interior set out as well, so that's also another one that you can kind of use and kind of base it off there, which might kind of help you to kind of, you know, develop like a bit of skill with floor planning, because I still struggle with it, you know, to this day, and it's just something that you kind of have to take like a step back, I suppose, and kind of look at it and see where the windows are lining up and things, and kind of just, you know, just take your time with it, and after a while it will start coming together. They also asked, do I have any tips for filling up empty spaces in houses? And there's not really like a solid tip I can really give, but what I actually do is sometimes, well, for example, in kitchens, you can just put like a island counter, and that kind of fills up the space in the middle of the room. And also as well with living rooms, what I tend to do is, if there's kind of like an empty space in the middle, is that I kind of use one of the gaming tables from Get Together, you know, like one of the card tables, or like that stacking game which has the 4 chairs attached to the object. I sometimes use those and kind of, you know, just put it in the middle with like a rug underneath it, or even just make another little seating area or something. That's sometimes what I do. Or what you could do is use just like a divider, so you could use an actual divider object from like City Living or something, or you could even just actually like build a wall in the middle of the room and maybe kind of put some stone on it and some like pillars on the side of it or something like that to break up the space. So that's something you can do as well. And the last question they ask is, what was my dream job when I was younger? So I actually kind of had a lot, like, you know, the generic ones, like being, you know, like a doctor and stuff like that. And I think one of them that kind of stands out a lot was being like a photographer, and that was something that I had kind of in my mind, you know, a lot. And also being like working in a bakery or something, because I've mentioned this before, but I do love bacon. So that is something that I kind of considered as well. But I don't really have a dream job, to be honest, but those were kind of, you know, the ones that I kind of thought about in the past. And my dream job now would be to do this full time. I know that's very unrealistic though, but you know, if that would be a possibility, then that would be amazing. The next couple of questions comes from John, and the first one he asks is, do I have a favorite collaboration partner? So I have done quite a lot of collabs, but you know, each collab is kind of interesting and unique and special in their own way. So I don't really have one that kind of is, you know, more special or anything than the others. But you know, I have done a lot of collabs with people over and over again. So like Spring Sims, I think we've done like 5 or 6 collabs, even 7 maybe actually now. And I've also done a few with Dr. Ashley, my friend as well, and also X7 Sims X. I think we've done about 3, but you know, there isn't really one person I can pick, because I mean, I don't want to make anybody annoyed, but also as well, like I was saying, every collab is special in its own way. He also asks, which of my mansion builds is my favourite? So I have done quite a lot. I think I've done about like 50 to 60 or something. I can't actually remember how many I've done though. I did actually check not too long ago, because I was thinking once I get to like, you know, my 1-year anniversary of like doing mansion build, because like it's something that I've done every week for nearly a year now. I think it's in August it marks a year since I started doing weekly mansion builds, and also the 100th one will be coming up next year sometime as well. So I might make like, you know, something special for those 2 events. So let me know if you have any ideas for that though. But if I had to pick a favourite one, it kind of changes, because that's like, you've probably noticed in the voiceovers how I'd say this is like my favourite mansion build I've ever done, and then, you know, a few weeks later my next mansion build I say the same thing. So it's kind of hard to decide, but ones that are kind of sticking out in my head at the minute is probably the orthogonal suburban home that I did not too long ago actually. I think that's what it's called. And there was also another one as well. It was like the Brindleton Bay Dream Mansion, which was quite a few months ago now actually. I think it was back in the summertime, but I always remember that one as being one of my favourites as I was building it. So I can't really narrow down to one, but there's like 2. The next question they ask is, have I ever considered a job in architecture? I have, you know, thought about it, but it's never really something that's kind of stuck with me or something that I really want to do. But it just seemed like an interesting idea though, for like, you know, as a Sims builder. But you know, sometimes as well when it comes to like, you know, decorating real life, because we just decorated a few months ago, and I'm actually going to be redecorating my room soon, and I felt like when we're choosing colours and stuff, I felt like my knowledge of like interior building in The Sims kind of helped me a little bit with that. And also as well, I kind of, you know, would make like a model of the room in The Sims and kind of choose stuff like that. So that's kind of helped a little bit, but I don't think I would go into a career in architecture. The next question comes from Maya, and she asks, what would I recommend for new simmers and people who are just starting getting into building? So I think I've talked about this in one of my building tips and tricks videos. I'm pretty sure I did, but I would say that kind of just look at as many floor plans as you can. So, you know, like I was just mentioning a couple of questions ago about like going onto Pinterest for looking at floor plans and stuff. Well, just kind of looking at that, and I feel like people feel like when they look at those sort of things, they have to kind of replicate the house exactly how it is. Remember, nobody is going to be testing you on how well you can replicate that picture. So just kind of experiment with like looking at different pictures and just trying to replicate it. And you know, they may get to a point in that build or that picture where you're like, I would rather do this type of, you know, way of doing this this type of thing instead of how it's done on the picture, and that's totally fine, just because that's kind of developing your own building style as you go as well. That's always a really good starting point, and you know, just kind of practice. I know it's something that people don't really like to say, but it's kind of something that I feel like, you know, like when I'm looking back at my first video, because I was doing that the other day, looking at my first build and how far I've came, it's kind of like it didn't really like register when I kind of look back at how bad my builds are. And I'm not saying I'm the most brilliant builder, but compared to how I was before, and because like I said, I never really played previous Sims games, so I think I've kind of developed a lot in the last 3 years in terms of building as well. So you know, and that's just through practice, because I build all the time, and that's kind of just developed my building skills as well. Karen asks, if I had to get rid or keep one stuff pack, game pack and expansion, what would it be? So for the get rid of ones, I would probably say for the stuff pack, I mean, I think we all know what's coming here. My first pet stuff, and you know, to be honest, it's not really a pack that I hate, like what I've seen a lot of people who've had that sort of opinion. It's just not one of my most, you know, used packs. I use the blinds from that pack all the time, and it's a really nice set of blinds, but you know, when I consider how much I use the other packs, I would probably get rid of that one based on how little I use it. And then for the game pack, I would probably say, I'm kind of like, I was going to say Spa Day, but I actually kind of use the items from there a fair bit, so maybe I would go for like Dine Out. Yeah, I'll probably say Dine Out, because again, considering how much I use that pack, maybe Outdoor Treat actually though. No, I'm going to go with Dine Out. And then for the expansion, like I was mentioning earlier, I'd probably go for Get to Work, because again, I only really use one item. That's kind of like, well, I probably end up using a couple more, but the plant from that pack, like the really thin one, is what I always end up using, and it's literally like the only item that I use from that pack these days. Because, you know, that might be different for other people who like play the game as well, that, you know, that selection might be different, but as a builder, those are the ones I'd probably choose to get rid of. And then the ones to keep, the stuff pack one is actually kind of hard, because it's not really, I was going to say Laundry Day, but again, there's probably ones that I use more than that. Probably Cool Kitchen stuff actually, because there's a lot of nice things in that pack to decorate kitchens with. And then for this game pack I would keep, I'll probably say Parenthood, because again, I use the kitchen counters from there quite a lot, and they have some nice items in there in that pack as well. And then for the expansion, I'll probably say Cats and Dogs, like I was mentioning earlier, because again, I use that pack quite a lot. Savannah asks, what tips do I have for people who are just starting YouTube? So to be honest, I would say just kind of have fun with it in the beginning, because it gets to a point where, like I'm at now, where I'm kind of more focused on making sure that my content is, you know, the best it can be and the most enjoyable and things that other people want to see. And in the beginning, you kind of, you know, may focus on that, but it doesn't, I wouldn't say it really matters as much in the beginning, because you're kind of just developing your channel, experiment with different things to see what your audience likes. So just have fun with it in the beginning, not worry about analytics and everything, because it really doesn't matter at all. And even now, it doesn't matter either. So, you know, just kind of doing your own things and not letting that sort of thing get to your head, which is really hard, but you know, after a while, it will kind of just click and you'll realize that, you know, this is supposed to be fun. So remember to have fun with it. They also ask, what was my biggest struggle starting my channel and how did I overcome it? So it kind of links back to the last question actually, because it was kind of paying too much attention to, you know, those analytics and everything, and it's just really hard to kind of not look at them as much as people say it is. It's really hard not to, but you know, trying to overcome that, which I have now, and I don't really look at my analytics a lot really, that's just made things much better. So trying to get, you know, past that little thing makes everything so much easier. And they also asked, did I have a nice holiday? And yes, I did, thank you, and I hope you all did as well. I know I haven't been as active on, like, you know, posting videos the last couple of weeks, so I haven't really done a lot of Christmas stuff, but I hope you've all had a nice Christmas and you all have a nice new year coming up as well. Mayvesta123, I think I said that right, asked, if I could make a stuff pack, what would it be? Can't really decide on one thing, but I actually kind of think that just something that, you know, sort of like, I don't really know how to explain it really, but there's a lot of things that builders kind of ask for, you know, just little things like spiral staircases and, you know, just little objects that maybe might be a little bit useful. It's kind of just having like some sort of like builder's pack with kind of just all those little things that people have been wanting to kind of just get out the way and have them. So I would probably want a stuff pack that is kind of like that and just kind of, you know, gets everybody's little requests into one little thing. I think that would be kind of good to have. And the last question today comes from Skyhawk, and they ask, who are my favorite YouTubers? So, you know, it's kind of hard to decide and I don't really want to miss anybody out, but to be honest, I don't really watch a lot of other videos than simmers, to be honest. It's kind of the only types of videos I watch these days, but there's a lot of different ones. So builders, you know, like, well, Sims X, not just for builds though. She has amazing Let's Plays. We've got Spring Sims, you know, Kiwi Simming, Lil Simsy, Hatsy with her machinimas, let's see, Simlissy, Sim Kim, Avalyn, Chrissy Marie XO. There's so many people that are, like, you know, there's just so many. I can't really decide. To have so many favorites. I have like my subscriptions on YouTube. I think I'm nearly subscribed to nearly 1,000 people. I think it's like 930 something subscriptions, because I just like to watch so many videos and just have, like, you know, loads of options to look through. So it's really hard to pick, but you know, those are a couple of my kind of go-to channels, you know, and for building as well. But that wraps up today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you have any more questions that I didn't really answer in today's video that you'd kind of like to know anyway, then feel free to kind of, you know, just leave that down below in the comment section or anything, and I'll try to get around to it. But once again, thank you for all the support over the last 3 years. It has been an amazing 3 years. I'm gonna have lots of exciting things coming up next year as well. And again, if you have anything else that you want to see on the channel in the next coming year, then feel free to let me know, as that'd be really helpful to hear. Leave a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!